Hey everybody, welcome to the Infinite Regression. It's about freaking time I started recording. I've been at this for entirely too long, and it's time to get the show on the road as twere. So, without further ado, and sometimes people think you're saying without further ado, like what the French say when they mean goodbye, which um is not the case. Ado is in much ado about nothing. So, yeah, without further ado, without causing any further, goings on, like this incessant rambling that I'm doing right now. God, get to the funny bit, stupid. Okay. Weekend Type Fun, Volume 5. An amalgamation of esoteric quasi-hilarity concocted by an aging flibbertigibbet. It's a real word there, by the way. Flibbertigibbet. It's fun. It's a fun one. Don't think Meg Ryan didn't teach me that one, because she did, as a matter of fact. That's how I learned that word. Thank you for everything, Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan, thank you. You seem nice. Are you nice to be around? Or are you one of those ones that's like yelling at the help? You better not be, because I think you seem nice and I would like to have brunch with you sometime. Okay. We'll get to the fun and games in a moment. Oh, that's right. I remember how this starts. But first, and see, I'm, doing a thing with this massive blimp. I'm doing it because of what's coming next. It's not what's coming next is not terrible, but you'll understand when I get there. Okay, so I just feel like based on the last I was gonna say several and then few and then I couldn't decide. Few, several. Uh anyway, so over the last several weeks, um, I have done a lot of stuff about like gay ha 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 ha, which you know, uh, I've been telling everyone that I have an unfortunate since recent developments with one of my children, um, I have been, they understand that they are lucky that they have parents who are like, cool, we love you, you're great. And so, anyway, I've taken up just sort of like calling out things that they say and do as gay when they are obviously not gay. When it's like, I think I'm gonna have some cereal. Gay, like you know, like, hey, did you check the mail yet? Gay, like, hopefully, it's funny to me. Sorry that I'm laughing if that's offensive to you at all, because we'll get to it. You have to know my heart, and that's part of it. So, but over the last 4 weeks, I've been engaging in weekend type fun. This is week 5 that I've done this. I've done it every week for the last 4 weeks. This is the 5th week I've done it. And apparently, whilst partaking of legal adult type fun enhancement, what in the world could that be? Anyway, I'll never tell. Anyway, I'm just a responsible adult, is all, on a weekend. So don't worry about it. Anyway, it seemed a good idea to do a lot of joking around about gays, homosexuality, and other related topics. Indeed, I did joke about such things. 'Tis true, 'tis true. Um, And while my intent has never been and will never be to marginalize what? Oh, I want to do the I hate it when I make typos thing, because the first time I did that, I thought I was being very seriously. Brain, I thought it was being very silly. Come on, brain. Get in the game. God. I mean, look, Braxton went through the freaking trouble to write us this speech so that we could sound halfway freaking serious about it, so that, we don't get boycotted by the gay community, of our 15 viewers. The gay ones will stop watching, which actually, by the way, would absolutely destroy my viewing audience, because of the number of them who are gay. I mean, when I say viewing audience, I mean people who have viewed like 30 seconds of one of my videos before being like, nope, this guy, I have to put up with it during the week. Like, why would I put up with it when it's not during the week and when school is not in session? Anyway, so yeah. Okay, my intent has never been and will never be to marginalize a historically marginalized community. I fear that my jokes may be taken in a way which they were not intended. Those who know me personally know that I am an ally of LGBTQ community, and that while I love to joke around like I was doing just now with the Braxton thing, and then I lost my train of thought and had to start reading this again, and while I love to joke around, I try to never do so in a way in which people are hurt by what I say. And that's actually true. I have a dingus student named Preston that I love to make fun of. And I actually do worry if I ever cross that line and actually offend him in any way. I worry about it because, even though he's a Mr. Poopy Pants who poops in his pants, if I thought that by saying so I would hurt his feelings in a way that like would actually be upsetting to him, I would apologize for it, and I would not say it in the future. I would like find the line and back it off from there. So, yeah. Anyway, there's okay, on the internet there is often a lack of context, and intent is difficult to interpret. So I'm sorry if I've offended people, and I'm going to try and be better. It's all any of us can do. This apology is the product of the sober version of me. I intend for the less sober version of me to fall in line, but there's no telling with that guy sometimes. Hey, you son of a... I swear to God, he thinks he's so freaking great. Oh, I'm slightly more sober than you. I'm so much better. Like, we're the same guy, stupid. Like, what the frick is wrong with you? Like, I'm worried that the sober version of me goes around thinking that we're two different guys. Like, what? Stupid. Like, ugh. That's a problem. I think we need therapy. By the way, this episode brought to you by the concept of therapy. You probably need it. Oh, you can hear my voice? You probably need therapy. Well, I'm going to guess human. And you have a heartbeat and stuff. And you're intelligent enough to understand complex sentence structures. And you can follow my line of thought over multiple words. Okay, you need therapy. And go tell your friend who didn't understand it, because them too. And hey, it's cool of you to be friends. That's good. People need friends. Anyway, regardless, this freaking guy acting like we're not the same guy. Seriously, he has my mind of his own. Like, that's clever. Stupid. This makes no sense. He has my mind of his own. Oh my God. I'll have a talk with Sober Me. He's full of crap. Oh, this guy. This freaking guy. Have you ever watched someone get angry with their own sober self? Like, hey, you get it in line. You need to understand what we're doing here. Anyway, clearly he doesn't get it. Moving on. Okay, then. What we have here is called a comedy hole. I dug myself into it. Let's see if I can climb out. This is me post-apology, and this is the comedy line. This is the kind of crap that he thinks is funny. Like, what? Braxton. Okay, Braxton, you gave your okay on this? You were here in this room with all these other white people, and you were writing the show. Look, no, I know that he put a slide in there at the very end that's like, haha, let's see if he can remember the names of the white people in the room. Braxton, look, you're in the room. You're not a figment of my imagination. You are 100% real, Braxton, and you are the head writer of this show. So, like, you gave the okay to this, thinking that on these slides, I would have still not found things to say that would be, like, at least mildly entertaining. Like, guy has no faith in himself. Like, where is his confidence? I mean, that's the version that just goes around in the world and is like, oh, hello, people. I'm not going to give you hugs because I'm uncomfortable. And, like, what? God. He needs to hang out with me more often, if anything. Oh, this is sounding terrible. This is like, hey kids, no, 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 no. That's like your brain try to tell you like this is the only way you're fun. It's not true. I'm still fun regardless. Like Sober Me, still buckets of fun. Like there are people who think I'm very funny who have never seen me in this state, and yeah, they think we're very funny, sober and everything. This is not the only way you can have fun, but it is like this is funny to me, this whole thing of my normally people think of mind body dualism, but I'm talking about influenced and non-influenced dualism, which is absurd. And the absurdity is hilarious to me, to both versions of myself. Anyway, so, yeah. Because obviously he wouldn't be writing as if there were two of us, and I wouldn't be responding as if there were two of us, were it not the fact that we both, who are in fact one and the same, did not think it was funny to project duality on the basis of sobriety. Oh my God, I can't believe that. Like I was doing pretty well staying out of this pit, and that I had to be like mind body dualities and dualities of sobrieties, and like what the crap? What am I doing with my life? Like, hey, we're doing a comedy thing. Like, let me get my shovel. Anyway, stupid. Here we go. Moving on. Thank God that Sober Me had the foresight to make such things. Transition time. Thank you, me. You're very kind. I'm going to give you a hug right now. Oh, you're soft. You're a little ticklish. Okay, if you're wondering whether or not I literally gave myself a hug and my first thought about myself was that I'm soft and a little ticklish, you are outside your mind if you think I didn't just do that 100%. Sober Me doesn't have the guts for that kind of action. Anyway, my advice column. Yeah, this is going to go well. Oh boy, Braxton, I am bailing on this bit before it's even started. Hey, Braxton had his debut on the show last week, and it's been going pretty well when he stays in line and writes good material. I mean, people got it last week with the whole like, oh, I'm mad at you for not writing good things, but it's really a bit, right? They totally got that, and we are cool. That's what the people need to know, isn't it, Braxton? You and me, we are cool. We always have been. There's no reason to think that we ever not have been. And quite frankly, there might be some trouble if certain people go around implying that there might have been, right? Because we're cool, we're buddies. We've always been buddies. Sometimes it's fun to have a little fun, just have a little fun. And, when your working relationship is solid enough, you can take chances like that. And I think it paid off really nicely, Braxton. Don't you? Yeah. 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 Okay. Well, this is going to be a great one, Braxton. I have full faith in you. My advice column. Oh, look at sober me being all like, oh, I'm being so nice and generous. Like, he's so freaking hypocritical. He's all proud of himself for being generous to me. Like you're so helpful. Like, what else would I have done with my time? Grade homework that my students submitted in hopes that they'll pass my classes and have a decent life someday. Ha! Oh my god, I sound terrible. Sound like a terrible person. Hey, you all have heard of jokes, right? Like, do you know what they are? 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 That is a thing that I do sometimes that only I think is funny. Nobody else ever has ever indicated that they thought it was even remotely funny. And yet I do it every freaking time because dedication is dedication. I want you kids to listen up. I want you to pay attention to this man. This man has what we call dedication. You look at him. He's on some crazy internet thing that he's doing that nobody's watching. That sounds like nuts just from the start, don't it? But you know what he does? You know what he does? He commits. He's a committer. He is a committer. Ladies, he's a committer. Ladies. Anyway, regardless, this is getting stupid so fast. Okay. All right. Hey, thanks, sober self. You're a bro. We can hang out. No, we can't. That doesn't make any sense. God. Ooh, what are we going to sever my corpus callosum? If you get that reference, wow. Holy smokes. Not only do I have an audience now that is not me, but like you're actually quite intelligent and are well read and things. This is such a compliment to myself. You're a true gentleman, and all who hear your melodious voice fall under a deep spell, men wishing they could be you, women wishing they could be with you, and underlings wishing they could watch you be with the women. Like, what? Jeez. God. Oh, anyway, like, yeah, if you got that other reference, you're super smart and sexy. Boy, howdy. You pat yourself on the back, dingus, in front of everyone. Oh, I have high self-esteem all of a sudden. What? You know you don't. Like, we've hung out. No, we haven't. God. Jeez. But you know what I mean? Like, no self-esteem is like negative. It's like, it's pretty bad. Like, you got it. Self-care is for real. That's on the slide. Okay, we're just going to read the slide as written because apparently, even though I made fun of him, my sober self is actually quite the kind fellow. Oh, goodness. Goodness me. Okay. The slides that follow are a gift from my sober self. Aww. To my slightly less sober self. Oh, I love that name. We have pet names for each other. I've taken actual questions from real advice columns for my slightly less sober self to answer. Hey, look, we both know that you are ripping off Paul F. Tompkins' advice to the probably dead. And I knew it when I did it. And I figured that no one would know. No one would know because Paul F. Tompkins' comedy genius is on BoJack Horseman now, and who remembers his bit of advice to the probably dead that he did his show at Largo, which was then spliced in to his podcast, the Pod F. Tomcast, which is great, by the way. Anyway, okay, where was I? I believe in you, bros. I believe in you, even though you just ragged on me for like ripping off Paul F. Tompkins for like 5 minutes. Oh my god. I believe in you, brosif. I'll set him up and you knock him down. By the way, self-care is for real. Mental health struggles are for real. Be good to you because sometimes you're the only one you've got. Okay, enough with the serious. I'll see you on the other side. He's actually kind of sweet. Like, I'm touched. You guys, like, I did something nice for myself. Do you know how rare it is that I do anything nice for myself? Like, God. Give us another hug. Soft and it tickles. I 100% hugged myself again. Like, do not for a moment think I didn't just give myself a hug. You freaking out of your mind. Anyway, this is what getting healthy looks like. Or getting worse, getting delusional and talking to yourself all alone in a room. Just kidding, I'm not alone. Braxton, back me up. Say something. Yeah, Braxton, real chatterbox. Thanks for backing me up with your existence that is definitely real and not a figment of my imaginations, surely. Okay. Question number 1. Dear slightly less sober guy, my boyfriend of nearly a year and I recently said I love you for the first time. Before he said it first. He told me he doesn't want to start saying it all the time. Wherein lies my dilemma. How often is too often? Do I say it every night before bed or only on special occasions? Please help because I'm confused and I'm worrying that I'm hurting him because I haven't said it since that night 4 days ago. I don't want to smother him or make him feel uncomfortable. How much is too much? Okay, I think, well, obviously you're writing into an advice column. Therefore, you are acknowledging that you have the problem. Because you're like, what do I say? I love you to him. Do I say it right now? Do I say it 5 minutes from now? Do I say it 5 minutes from then? Like, what? And then and because you're thinking this, then you went and said it. Like, you went and not said it for 4 days, and now he's like, oh God, I said it first. That's a big matzo ball hanging out there as the sign type felt. You know what? I just won't write jokes. I'll just let other people do that. I'll just like quote Seinfeld. That's what we'll do. It'll be hilarious. We'll just listen to this guy quote Seinfeld. Look, I'm not saying Seinfeld is not hilarious. I watch everything the man does. I have seen like everything the man does. And oh, that movie? Yeah, seen it. Seen it. So I think I've seen it twice. So, yeah. Yeah, let's not act like, things are what they are. Wait, let's not act like things are what they are? I'm creating sayings that are stupid and make no sense. Anyway, let me fix other people's problems when I cannot fix my own. Uh, hey, you're doing great, buddy. Sober Us thought that we could do it. Oh, God, there's another one. Sober Us. So wait, there's two of us now? God. Ugh. Hey. Hey, you. You're going to calm down? You're going to give me a hug. You're going to realize that you needed me all along and that you're never going to be alone again. Bring it in. Bring it in. Oh, it's soft. Tickles. Wait, I 100% hugged myself again. Thank you. Thank you. Boys, you gather round. You look at this guy over here. Commitment. You think it's fun to hug him? It's like hugging a sack full of rotten taters. It's like hugging a balding porcupine. It's like, it's like hugging a dead hog carcass left out 4 days in the sun and drug behind a horse for 6 or 7 miles. God, I was being so nice to myself, and then this. Get it together. What are we doing? Okay, we're answering questions. Slap, slap. I slap my face twice. It makes a slapping noise when I slap it. Okay, so, the problem is with you. You're thinking about it too much. Just whenever you feel like it, say it. And if you're saying it too much, they should tell you. And if they have a problem with your love, then maybe they don't deserve it. If they're all like, if they're not in a place where they can be loved, then yeah, they need friendships, but maybe they're not in a place where they can handle romantic relationships. Was I going to answer these seriously, or was I going to joke? That was not a joke. That was actually half decent. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, dear slightly less sober guy, I work. Oh God, I remember this one. Oh, this is gonna go poorly. I work in a busy metropolitan area, and I often cross intersections against the light when there are no cars coming to save time, and as I'm often traversing 12 or more blocks at a time across town. I'm very careful and know the traffic patterns of my routes well. However, last week I was crossing the road very carefully and checking that it was clear. A woman on the other side of the crosswalk looked right at me, saw that I was crossing the street. I was almost completely across by then. Abruptly stepped into the road without looking and was struck by a car. Wait, hold up. Hold the phone. Dude, don't do this while you're on the phone. Like, oh, you are very dangerous, sir. Sir, are you aware that you are murdering ladies with your carelessness and your phone talking? Sir, hang it up. Hang it up. No, hang up. No, you. No, you hang up. No, you. No, you hang up. I'm not going to hang up until you hang up. No, I won't hang up until you hang up. Oh my God, look at us. Did you ever think? Okay, stop. This is a woman has died. Wait, did she die? I don't know. Anyway, okay. So this guy crosses against the light regularly. Like, just does it. Okay. And because he does it so often, he's like, I know when it's safe to go. I'm good. But this is like right after he got out of the street. She looked him in the eyeballs and was like, oh, he has such a trusting face. Who could not walk headlong into the crosswalk with such a trusting, kindly face? Oh, kindly, trusting face, when I reach t'other side, you will remember me, won't you? You will, won't you? You're such a kindly looking person. There's no way you could forget us. Oh, kindly, kindly person, please do take care in getting to where you're going. Meanwhile, I'm going to be here toying with the audience. Anyway, regardless. Oh my god. Ugh. Anyway, so this woman didn't cross until she saw him. Da da da. Didn't cross until she saw him cross, and then she was immediately hit by a car. I mean, that's a horrifying experience for everybody. Like, I don't feel good about anybody in this story. I mean, I wouldn't want to be either one. Don't want to get hit by a car, certainly, though that has happened. Cars. Anyway, and I don't want to be the cause of anyone getting hit by a car with my selfish street crossing. No, I'm kidding. It's not selfish to cross against the light. Some lights just never go and there's never any traffic. And like, I've done it plenty of times, but like, I've never caused anyone to, okay, like, let's be clear here. Without two important factors, this woman does not get crushed by car. Okay? Number one is you crossing. I'm sorry, that's number one. We're going chronologically. I'm not going in terms of like impact on events. Number two is her looking directly into your eyes. Like, I don't know if she's checking you out or what. I don't know why I project that onto her. That's ridiculous. Come on, male brain. Oh, I read this terrible article tonight. Ugh. I'm getting so sidetracked. But, like, this article was all about, like, oh, why are white cisgendered males the bad guys all of a sudden? Like, it's an attack. It's like reverse racism on white cisgendered male guys. Why? And, like, here's the thing. I used to think that way. I really did. I was like, I don't have any malice in my heart toward any of these groups who are being marginalized and oppressed. Like, I don't have any malice in my heart toward any of them, and yet they all think I'm the bad guy. It's like, no, you idiot. They don't think I'm bad. They just think that I benefit from a system that's clearly slanted to benefit me and not benefit them in the same way, which is actually factually correct. And even though, you know, if given the opportunity to give up the unearned privilege, I certainly would, like, it's not up to me. So what you have to understand is that it's systemic. And that the only problem is by not being aware of it, you are absolutely going to perpetuate it. By benefiting from it, well, how much do you really have to say about how much you benefit from a system that you did not create, but may unintentionally be perpetuating in ways that you don't perceive? Like, try to be better, learn to be better, and then just we all continue on. Like, for real though, you know, like, it's not that white guys are causing. Okay, let me walk this back. Not every problem in society is solely the fault of white men. Are you happy? Like, there are other people who are at fault for a variety of things. So, pump those freaking brakes. For real, though. Like, just pump them. Find them and pump them. So that's number one. There are other people who are responsible for bullcrap in their own time, in their own way. Okay. All right. Point conceded, sir. Unhappily conceded. Because for a person from a traditionally marginalized group to do something which is not beneficial to their community as a whole, it's not a happy thing. It's not a good thing. It's not a haha, not all of us, you know, kind of a moment. Like, when are we going to celebrate that? No, there's no celebration of that. Anyway, regardless. The fact of the matter is that the system in place was intentionally created by white men a long time ago to intentionally benefit people who were very much like themselves. And it was intentionally perpetuated by men in power over white men in power, white, straight, cisgendered men in power over long periods of time, intentionally perpetuated. So, how much guilt do you bear when you are maybe just an unwilling participant or an unknowing participant and are not a perpetrator or a perpetuator? Well, how are you supposed to feel about the whole thing? Okay, kitty, I swear to God, this kitty jumped up here. She's quite large. She has a habit of jumping on my keyboard. I'm not going to have it. Okay, you're not setting up camp here. You're very soft, but you are not setting up camp here. If you set up camp here, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. And don't hit my multimedia buttons. Okay. Because I don't want to start playing, musics and whatnot. I mean, it's a soundboard recording that is easily accessible. God, this one's falling apart. Okay. Stay on target. Okay. Oh, yeah, this guy walked through the street and was partially responsible. That is our stance on the matter. Partially responsible for a woman being hit by a car. Kitty. Oh, my God, these freaking kitties. What do you even do, right? Like, what is your life, kitty? Okay, no, you cannot. You cannot settle here. Kitty. No, kitty. Kitty. Oh, son of a... You see what I have to deal with? God, am I still recording at the very least? Okay, I'm still recording at the very least. Sheesh. Kitty, like, you're... Go boop mommy right on the nose. She'll be fine. I'm just trying to get this done. And you know that because I'm not editing that this is crappy. Anyway, look. Okay, guy, you're going to feel guilty because you're partially guilty. Okay? You didn't mean to be guilty. We don't mean to be guilty of all the things that we're guilty of. But like, dude, if you had a choice in the matter, knowing the outcome, would you have done it? If you can say no to that question, then you're good. It means that it was not intentional, and that although it happened due to something that you did that was intentional, and was questionable, and you realize that it's questionable because of the way you wrote about it, you could not have foreseen all possible outcomes of this. That is but for God. And when I say God, I mean Emmylou Harris. We'll get to that later. Some of you might know what I mean. Emmylou Harris is God. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on because these are... Oh, God. God, sober me. You think this is funny now? Like, you didn't know where this would go. And now I have to read things about nipples and 4-year-olds. What? Oh, you see the word nipples, sober me, and you're like, this will be comedy gold. All right. Well, let's find out. I'm sure it'll be great. Woohoo. Self-care. Yas, queen. Okay. Dear Slightly Less Sober Guy, my son is 4 years old and still plays with my nipples. Every morning he climbs into bed with us and grabs my nipples. Okay, wait a minute. I think we need a more saucy. It's gotta be like real saucy. You know what I'm saying? Like them nipples. How sensitive are we talking? No, I'm kidding. Nope. I'm not doing that voice to that. Anyway. Your nipples. Yes, señorita. Your nipples. I guess it would be senora. I paid attention in high school Spanish. Thank you. Senora, these nipples of yours. What are we talking about? Are they big flat ones like pepperonis? Are they pucchiari ones like you're smuggling the raisins? Come on, tell me. Don't worry. Your secret is safe with me. Otherwise, why would I have this accent? I wouldn't not have this accent if I was not very, very. I swear to God, you freaking people wanted to know where that sentence was going. You stupid cat. Like, go get up in the windowsill. Not on the freaking mouse. God. Okay, we're gonna. Dude, I said don't start music. Ugh. Now she gets up like, oh, something wrong? Yes, something's wrong. I'm trying to. No, not closer. Ugh. Jeez. God. You're on. Like, what? Friggity frack. Like, no, cancel carrot browsing. Like, where even am I? Nipples. Jess, your nipples. Tell me. Are they pointy like the tips of cylindrical cones like the ones Madonna have? Anyway, regardless, that's so stupid. Breastfed both of my sons until they self-weaned at around a year and a half old, and as I am currently pregnant with my third little boy. Okay. Jude, cat, like, people are gonna think you have mental problems. No, cat. People are going to think I have mental problems. They're going to be right about that, but not in the way they think. Okay, I had to move everything just so I can, so she could lick her own anus, like 6 inches away from me. Yeah, now lick my screen. Yeah, do that. Definitely don't not do that. Okay, curl up right there. That's clearly where you belong. Freaking cats. God. Oh, by the way, how many freaking versions of that? So I read that cats are only wanting to be on your laptop because they're mirroring you, so they won't do it if you give them their own laptop. And look at my little businessman. Oh, God. I'm so tired of the thing where it's like I gotta take audio that is not from my thing and put it on another thing. Like look at my happy guy. He's a happy guy. Like that. How many freaking things has that been put onto that don't really match that audio? Like, holy crap. Anyway, moving on. We are never getting through these slides. There's like 97 slides. Okay. I'm sorry I told you how many slides there are. You should quit now. All right. All right. Okay. I intend to do the same with him, the third little boy who is soon to be born. In this context, I do not view my breasts as sexual objects, nor do I want my male children to view women's bodies as sexual objects. I don't know if you're going to have any control over that, quite frankly. Like, any. I'll talk about why in just a second. Over the years, I've been groped, grabbed, and even raped. I don't want. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mom. Okay, let me just say something on the serious. Like, I know entirely too many women who have been through crap like that. Like, who've been sexually assaulted, who've been raped, and like, it tears me up inside because, like, like, I would never. Anyway, like, but I think that, okay, it's just, I'm so mortified. Like, it's being perpetrated all the time, and like, it's so much harder to be a woman. Like, I know that I sound like a patronizing man when I say that, but like, for real though, I tell it to my male students all the time when they're like, "What, you think it's harder to be a woman?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, and then I ask my male students this question: At what age did you learn to interlace your keys into your knuckles? And they're like, "What?" And then I show them you put a key in between each of your knuckles, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "That's so you can fight off a potential attacker, you know, from when you get attacked, groped, grabbed, or attemptedly raped." Like, and the guys are like, "That's a thing." And then every girl in the room is like, "That's a thing." Like, that's really actually a thing. So, like, it's mortifying to be a part of the gender that does the vast majority of those terrible things. Like, the vast majority. And apologies to you, mister. Like, why was everybody always down on straight white males? Like, sorry about your super sweet life. Because, like, we got some friggin' problem solving to do. Our entire gender. Anyway, yeah, I don't want my sons to grow up to be the type of person who views women's bodies as objects for their taking. Yeah, obviously. Okay, let me address two things, first of all. Like, breastfeeding sons until they self-wean, it just seems a little late. Like, I'm 100% weirded out by people who breastfeed for too long, and I am not an anti-breastfeeder kind of guy. Like, I openly wish that it were easier for women to breastfeed in public and that people wouldn't get all freaking weird about it. Like, because when you actually understand, like, even the most minute part of, you know, what it's like to be a woman who is producing milk at that point in your life, um, and you know the numerous various things that like make it very uncomfortable, uh you would spend zero amount of time making women uncomfortable when they were trying to do what is quite literally the biological function of their mammaries, the thing that makes us part of the mammal the mammalian family of animals. um yeah, anyway, so yeah, it's stupid that gets that boobies get over sexualized, and I was totally doing it earlier in the thing, but I mean, just, I'm joking, you know, I'm joking. I don't actually want to see your nipples. Like, you keep those to yourself. And I mean, from me and from that kid of yours, because like, 4 years old, look, I'm just gonna be 100% honest with you, is that, um so you are not capable of creating long-term, last in your head forever type memories before you're about 3 years old. But at 4 years old, you should definitely be creating such memories. And I mean, there are things that you create as memories even before then that have an impact, or there are memories that you can't recall in the same way that you recall other memories. There are things that are remembered, habits, patterns that are set into place early on, influences that are taken into account and carried throughout the rest of your life. Various things like that do take place prior to being 3 or 4 years old. But like by the time you're 3 or 4 years old, you are creating those long-term memories that you'll be able to recall potentially as an adult. And why are we putting ourselves in a position where like one of those memories might be mommy's nipples? You know what I'm saying? Like why? What's the benefit? Like, look, I get the many numerous health benefits of breastfeeding. Not everyone can do it. We need to destigmatize not being able to breastfeed as much as we need to destigmatize breastfeeding, because yeah, anyway, different reasons though similar. Anyway, but like for real, I and sorry, sober me, that I'm answering these instead of being like, haha, fun. But like, if your son is old enough to remember what your boobies look like, then maybe don't let him like pull them out and be like, boop doo. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, because I don't think you are going to have much control over whether or not he objectifies women. I don't mean objectifies in the sense that like, um, okay, when we talk about objectifying women, it it is a difference of degrees, is a difference of types, intents, and whatnot. Because like, for the perpetuation of the species, the males of the species have to be attracted to the females of the species, and you are not typically attracted to, um, those deep qualities of character first. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're like, I am attracted to none of these women. I want to take them all on dates until I figure out which of them shares my core values. Like, that is not a thing. Like, uh, there is built into the system a tendency to be like, I like the way that looks. I want to jubbly wubbly that. Um, and yeah, and I know that that's not the most romantic thing ever, and you want your sons to be like, oh, hello, my dear. I'm so excited to go on to our 13th date in a row, and which I've been a perfect gentleman and have paid for everything, and have not even gone so far as to presume that I can hold hands with you in front of people that you know. Like, oh my god, you want your sons to be that fool, but like, um, regardless of whether or not he's seen yours, at a certain point, boy is gonna want to see some boobies, unless he wants to see other things, like, in which case is his own friggin' business. Like, yeah, it's his own business. If he's looking at curly cued mustaches, it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, so yeah, look, lady, I am sorry for your pains. I am sorry that this is a thing. I think you should have thought about weaning your kids a little bit earlier, because I think you set patterns in place that are not paying off in the best ways now. And I think that if it continues, that it might actually do more harm than good. So no more titty grabbing from your 4-year old. Like, I'm sorry. When you sound it like that, we both sound crazy. No more 4-year-olds grabbing your titties. All right, moving on. Oh god, this freaking cat. I'm having to hold my keyboard and mouse in my hand and just like click them without them being on a flat surface because she is just taking up my space. Anyway, dearest lately last sober guy, I've been with my boyfriend for 5 years. Oh, we're only on number 4. Oh god, there's so many more. It's good when like, hey audience, enjoy the following. Like, please do. I'm going to do comedy for your benefit. You're going to see me be hilarious in front of you for your attention and affirmation. And what am I doing? I'm 4 slides in, and I'm telling you why you shouldn't watch the other 92. Yeah, 92 more slides. Don't worry about it. We're good. They're all hilarious. Don't worry about it. I have perfect faith in all of them. Oh, God. And then every time I look at one and I'm like, no. Okay, I've been with my boyfriend for 5 years, and during that time, we've had some issues with infidelity on his part. Clearly. I recently went on his phone. I know. Nope, nobody, nope, because I know what's coming. And girl, we're going to talk about that. Girl, or possibly not girl, we're the two, but if, possibly call yourself girl, which is fine and cool with that. Like, let's not get all freaking weird with, ways that we refer to each other. Anyway, to see what he had been doing while out of town on business, I was shocked to find that he's been soliciting nude photos and videos from teenage boys. What should I do? Okay. This part, teenage boys. All right. The internet would have you believe that the world is chock full of 18-year-olds. Like, they're just teens. They're just teens who are just teens, though. They're just teens. Like 18. They're totally 18. They're totally 18. This one has stretch marks, a missing tooth, and her son keeps walking into frame. She's 18. 18 and ready to mingle. Like, what? Anyway, so like 18 and 19 are only 2 of the possible teenage years at the latter end of the spectrum. Before that, you have the following, and I assume you know what they are, but I'm just going to say it so that you know how many possible teens there are. There is 13, there's 14, there's 15, there's 16, and guess what? It doesn't sound like that big of a deal. Like, oh, maybe it's fine because it's closer to that other teen that we're okay with, because it's an arbitrary age that our culture has decided makes you an adult. But yeah, 17. Yeah, nope. Nope. All those teens, 13 through 17. It's a lot of teens, okay? So if this is his thing, then I'm go ahead and guess like that these teenage boys skew toward the not 18 and over teens, like, because let's not bury the lead here. Let's not be like, oh, well, he has had some infidelity, and I'm sorry I got on his phone, but like, let's be like, okay, I've been with my boyfriend, and now he's trying to get nudies from teenage boys. Which, like, what? Huh? What are you doing? Like, okay. let's all think about Kevin Spacey right now because it is bullcrap that we haven't had the full opportunity to be as pissed off at him as we should have been, or as long as we should have been. Thanks, COVID. Anyway, Kevin freaking Spacey gets caught like being a douchebag and like treating young men as like, hey, you're a young man, I'm just gonna buy and sell you as a sexual object, and I'm just gonna like use you and abuse you, because I'm a star and I can do that, and you better not talk about it because I'm a star. Like that's the kind of bullcrap that he was doing. Like some stuff that's some real Me Tooable stuff. And then when the young men came forward, he was like, "Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm gay. You didn't know that about me. I'm so gay because of the gayness." And because these young men were like, by the time they're coming forward, they're clearly of age now. An attempt to make it be like, oh, it was just silly tickle times when they were only slightly less than legal, like silly tickle times. Come the frig on, Kevin Spacey. Who you think we are? And my wife fell asleep during The Usual Suspects 6 times. 4 of those times, she didn't make it off the boat. The one that blows up in the beginning? Like, she didn't make it off the boat. And you're like, wait a minute, that's like 3.5 minutes into the movie. And it's like, yeah, I know. The more imperative it is that she stay awake for something, the less likely it is that she will. Anyway. Oh, why was I talking about that when this is a thing? Kevin Spacey. Okay. I'm like, oh, yeah, she fell asleep during The Usual Suspects like 6 times, 4 of which were super early. And now we can't watch it because I'm not going to support Kevin Spacey, who is Kaiser Soze, by the way. There, I just ruined it for you and saved you the time of having to be like, this guy did a couple of things wrong. Number one, non-consensually got up on people and was like, non-consensual here. I'm bringing my non-consensuality your way. Ugh. Like, so he was doing that, number one. And then number two, thought that by coming out as gay, that people would be like, oh, hey, you know how we conflate homosexuality and pedophilia all the time, which people do, and it's freaking wrong. Because like some guy gets caught, diddling kids. Like the problem is not that he's a homosexual. The problem is that the Catholic Church is. Wait, hold up. Where did I get sidetracked? No, the problem is not that. I forgot where my brain was going because I thought I did something hilarious. And then it was like, oh, my brother is a Catholic priest. He is. He legitimately is. My actual, real life, true brother is a Catholic priest. He's the only one in the family. And as far as I know, has never done anything like that. And if I thought he had, I would turn him in. So it's true. That's how I roll. Anyway, because, yeah, kids are more important than that. Anyway, it's true. Anyway, so yeah, Kevin freaking Spacey being like, oh, my gayness will balance out and make okay the creepiness. It's like, no, you a creep, and it does not balance out. So, no. Anyway, so yeah, look. Here's why I mentioned Kevin Spacey. we don't know if the person who wrote this is male or female. So the boyfriend, like, what if the boyfriend was gay? Does it make it more acceptable that he's looking at pictures and videos of underage boys? Pretty well guaranteed that there are some underage ones in there. Pretty well guaranteed. Like, if this is how he's spending his time, like, pretty well guaranteed. So, like, there's a possibility he could be gay, which is terrible because you don't want any member of a traditionally marginalized community to be guilty of terrible crappiness, you know? But what if this person is straight? What if they are in, or purportedly straight? What if they're in a heterosexual relationship and they are, getting pics and vids from teenage boys? What then? What then? Like, does that mean they're gay? Not necessarily. What it means, I mean, pedophile ain't gay. Like, if there's a gay pedophile, that's another matter entirely. But like, the pedophile part does not presume the gay part. Let's not conflate the two. But the fact, like, and because that's the case, I just want to make it very clear that it does not matter whether the boyfriend is gay or not. That he is soliciting teenage boys. No. No. Like, nope. Nope. Sorry. I'm noping this guy hard. So, what do? You take that phone and you take it to the popo and you be like, this is my boyfriend. Like, what do we do now? And let the popo handle it. I don't know why I called him the popo. That's not what I normally call them. It's true. All right. We just finished number 4. This is taking forever. Question number, I lost track. We just did number 4. I think you're trying to be stupid. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, wait. Didn't I have a transition for this? Because, I might have grabbed it and moved it. Anyway, the I lost track ones come from the whole thing, and there might be slides that say this somewhere in here. There should be this slide that says, like, hey, we need to go to some vintage advice columns because all of these modern ones are like heavy, because I'm not making comedy out of like, he's hitting up teenage boys. Sorry about the lack of comedy. Ugh, sober self. Wait, hold up. Braxton, did you write this list? You thought I'd just riff on it. You thought I'd just riff. You think I have the riffing skills to just be like, oh, ha ha ha, the pedophilia, like, no, dude, Braxton. Oh my God. What am I going to do with this kid? He's just out of college and he's driving me nuts. Anyway, should have never made him the head writer, but he went to Yale. So, what we're going to do. All right. Yeah, so these are from vintage ones. Dear slightly less sober guy, a couple of moved. Okay, I think it's supposed to be a couple of ladies. A couple of women's moved in across the hall from me. One is a middle-aged gym teacher, and the other is a social worker in her mid-20s. These women go everywhere together. See, yes, there is 2 women. go everywhere together, and I've never seen a man go into or leave their apartment. Do you think they could be Lebanese? Okay, first of all, to what extent do they resemble Klinger from MASH? Jamie Farr is the actor, because he's the only Lebanese person that I know of that I have a reference for. So if they look like Jamie Farr, actually, that's not a bad metric. If they look like Jamie Farr, they might be Lebanese. Like, you don't know. But also, what's this business about? I've never seen a man go into or leave their apartment. Like, what is your apartment like? Is it just a revolving door of people who need a little, a little bit of, little no questions asked, little guaranteed, little, it's going to happen, a little sure thing. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that's your apartment. Don't you freaking judge these two because they're in a trusting monogamous relationship. Like, you look at yourself and realize how much you're giving away to randos on the daily, and maybe you don't judge. Also, yes, they're lesbianese. I was going to say Lebanese, but then I mixed it up, and I think it's funnier that way. Thanks, comedy. Sometimes it's a mistake. It's a mistake tonight. God. Question number, I lost track. Thank God, because then I wouldn't know how many slides are left and wouldn't keep reminding you. It's 90. Anyway, dear slightly, because I figure there were 4, and then this is the second I lost track, so 90. You son of a... God. Oh. I am not doing well at making hilarity. I know I set out to, and then I dug myself a hole, and then I was like, we can do it. We could do it with this bit about us doing old advice columns. No, we can't. No, we cannot. We are the little train that could freaking not. You think you're making it over this mountain? No, sir. We are backsliding. We are back. We are burning out the brakes. We are in danger of tipping over. We are backsliding this friggin' heavy train. Anyway, is it proper for women to be learned? Is it? Pray tell, is it proper for women to be learned? Should I beat them soundly about the ears if they start quoting the bard? You know, like, what? What is your stupid question? Is it proper for women to be learned? What, or learned, depending upon who you ask? Like, dude, do you hear yourself? Like, I don't know if this is a man or a self-hating woman, but like, either way, God, what is your view of humanity? Like, people all the time, like, remember a few years back when all the, dumb girls on the internet were like, I don't need feminism because I actually like boys. And you're like, no, stupid. We just think that you ought to have the same rights as boys. And they're like, well, I don't. So you can go kick rocks and whatnot. Anyway, but like, yeah, I feel like the thing that people who did that are missing, the people who did the I don't need feminism hashtag, the thing that they're missing is how hard women had to fight for the right to just friggin' have any amount of choice in their life. You think women back in the day when people were asking, is it proper for a woman to be learned, could do a hashtag on social media? Like, that if social media existed with the gender opinions that they had back then, do you think that women would be allowed on social media at all? Like, Really? Okay. Like, what? Dingus question. Ugh. Okay. Dear Slightly Less Sober Guy. Oh, this question number, I lost track. This is the third one, which means we have 89 slides left. I am thinking of committing any great and enormous crime and sin as adultery. What is your grammar, friend? I am thinking of committing any great and enormous crime and sin? What? Bro. This is first of all, this is definitely a man. Bro. Yeah. Okay. But do not personally and actually commit it. Am I guilty of the crime and sin? Okay, do not personally commit it, so you're just recommending it to other people. You're like, hey, buddy, not for nothing, but I heard of this great new sin that's going around. It's called looking lustfully upon the knees of the young dames who be walking around showing their knees. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, thinking lustfully about them. Oh, don't do anything lustful. No, for the love of God, don't do anything lustful. Oh, no, I'm just like you. When I say God, I mean Emmylou Harris. Who do you think I would mean? Clearly. Anyway, and this has officially gone off the rails. Yeah, as if now were the moment that happened. Anyway, so if I, James Mason, am thinking of committing any great and enormous crime and sin as adultery, but do not personally and actually commit it, am I guilty of the crime and sin? No, you're talking about thought crimes. Sir, no. Thought crimes are not a thing. I don't give a crap what the Bible say about thought crime, because the Bible be like, if any man doth look upon a woman to lust after her, he hath committed adultery with her in his heart. Like, I'm pretty sure that's a pretty freaking accurate quote. I might look it up later, but not now. I can't because there's a stupid kitty sleeping on my dingus. I know that makes it sound like on my desk. This is where she's sleeping. Anyway, look, thought crime is not real. If you didn't do anything, then it's not wrong. Like, now, granted, if you fixate, then it might be a precursor to action, and we might need to start being concerned. But unless you're not fixating, like, thinking about adultery can be one of the best parts of your day. Jeez. One of the best parts of your day? Who am I? Like, boy, hey, sure I'm glad it's 10:30. I just went a long time without thinking about adultery, if you know what I mean. Now it's time for me to think about adultery. Don't worry about the smile that spreads slowly across my entire face, lightening up the room. Like, what? Oh, I'm sorry, my alarm is going off. It's time for me to think about adultery. Like, what? Guy. Okay, there's no such thing as thought crime. Don't fixate on terrible things, but, like, whatever. Okay, dear Slightly Less Sober Guy, I'm hoping you could tell me what works well for driving demons out of the home. I've heard they dislike the fragrances of sandalwood and sage, but since I don't have either of these on hand, is there something I can substitute for them? Okay. So you believe in demons. Like, you're 100% in on demons. And you're also like, here's what I've heard, R.E., the fragrances, the demons are driven out by. What? It's like, I love the idea that demons are like, I will possess you and take your soul and make you do terrible things so you have to go to hell with Satan like me. And I'm gonna make you do it. Oh, is that sandalwood? Oh, God, I can't stand that stuff. I'm out of here. You used to be cool. Like, what? What is your demonology, stupid? First of all, there's no demons. Okay, I know who told you that. This is probably some sage salesman. Oh, but back in the day, the sage salesman might have been an entirely different thing and been like, because vintage stuff, I don't know how vintage this is. Remember when they'd be like, it's an elixir. Come and get your elixir, your magical miracle cure for all that ails you. And meanwhile, it's like cocaine and morphine. It's a medicine. Like, what? Anyway, so, yeah. Sandalwood and sage, but since I don't have either of these on hand, is there something I can substitute? So you 100% believe in the demons, and you believe that they are offended by odors and will leave your house because of them. And now you're asking, like, can I go the budget route on this? On the kicking the demons out of my house? A thing that I fully believe in and believe is real. And I also believe they can be driven out with smells. And I'm worried about whether or not I can do this on the cheap. Like, what is your stupid life, idiot? You know what you can burn? Money. Just straight up money. They hate it. Demons, they're like, urgh. That's the root of all evil, going up in smoke. Demons hate you burning money. So just take out the largest denominations you have. And when I say denominations, I mean religions. I mean sects of a religion. And you just take them and burn them to the ground. Anyway, moving onward. Dear slightly less sober guy, my mother-in-law says the cucumbers are food of the devil, that they are inappropriate for a woman to touch. Is this true? Okay. I am going to need you, next time your mother-in-law comes over, I'm going to need you to ask her some pointed questions about what she's been doing in the kitchen. Like, I'm pretty sure we know, but I think we need to hear her say it. Because, like, think we all know, like, projecting. Somebody's projecting. Yeah, it's true. Any psychologist would see this and be like, well, let me tell you what I know for 100% fact about your mother-in-law. I've never met the woman, but and I don't know most of the things she's done in her life. Gotten married and had a child. That's at least as much as I know. A child who grew up to be married to you. That's all that I know about this woman. But I am also going to say, as if I were 100% certain, that she has used a cucumber for self-pleasure. Like, 1,000%. That is what we know. It is not, I am not Sherlock Holmesing this thing. You know, I am not making deductive arguments about your mother-in-law and her actions. I am telling you, as a matter of historical record now, your mother-in-law and a cucumber were listening to Marvin Gaye in the kitchen. It's true. Transition! Good. Get me out of that. This is terrible. Oh, I hope to God, stupid, the one with the stupid face. You know who you are, the big stupid face. Hope you don't see this. Ooh. Hey, the lovely wife of mine. He's not gonna see it. Nobody but me watches these. You with the stupid face. If you freaking do and then tell my lovely wife that you do, this is such bullcrap. Who's this? Freaking blackmail? Extortion? Anyway, swear to God. Hey, kitty, go chase your own butt or something. See if you can catch it. Okay. Oh, this sounds boring. Ugh, on this slide, we'll see how capable I am of telling the story of the ants in the pants. Dooba-dooba-doo. Oh, sober me, you think you're so smart. Like, let's tell a story and see if we can. Of course we can. We are extremely coherent. Don't even act like we're not coherent. We make sense. Everything that we have said up to this point has made some sense or another. To myself, and possibly to others, if they watch this, which they shouldn't, as we have discussed. Okay, Braxton, you let that guy think that I couldn't tell a story from my own life? Okay, we're going to tell this stupid story. And you know what I'm going to do in addition? I am going to tell a story of one of my most embarrassing things that ever happened to me with someone who is a small feature in this story. Yeah. We're going to see if we can remember to do that, even though there's no slide about it. And if I do that, will you shut the freak up about whether or not you think I am mentally capable of simple tasks like Braxton? Get a handle on this guy. Okay. All right. So when I was a little kid, down my parents' street and around the corner, there was what we call the big tree. Now, it was a big cottonwood tree. And we called it the big tree because of its bigness and tree-like nature, and also because we were imaginative children who knew how to use our imagination. Oh, this cat. Oh, I wish I was capturing this on video. Okay, so she's a long-haired cat. Oh, she almost barfed on my desk. Okay, you need to get down. You do. Please get down. I don't want a cat to almost barf on my desk. Okay. Jeez. So, yeah, she's a long hair and she's cleaning herself and she got the side, the hair, the fur on the side of her mouth, inside her mouth. She like hooked it up in there and it was making her gag, and she almost puked on my desk, but it was really funny to watch her gag because she was just like like she's pulling a face and everything. It was cute but also terrifying because I was worried about having to clean up cat vomit. Okay, all right, ants in the pants. Let's not get distracted. I got to put my keyboard and mouse back down. Hopefully that cat is like, oh, let's not hop back up there. You start to choke. Anyway, okay. So, big tree. We're very imaginative. Everybody called it the big tree. All the kids in our neighborhood. And there were a ton of kids in our neighborhood because we lived in this area that sold houses to young married couples. And then everybody just proceeded to stay and then start their families. And so, like, not only did they have kids, they had kids of like relatively similar ages. So we always had, there were a ton of people our age in the neighborhood. You didn't have to go very far to find someone who was your age. I mean, like, my best friend at the time lived literally right across the street from me, though he would later move slightly farther away, but within walking distance. So, how much farther is it? Anyway, so there were a ton of kids, and we all called this place the Big Tree. And the Big Tree was, it was so big because it was in the center of this L bend in the irrigation canal that ran through the yards. Because, like, you could use it was a little off run of the irrigation canal that ran through the alfalfa fields on the north end of town. And by the time it trickles down to Sunset Acres, which is the name of the area in which my parents' house was. That's what they were calling that development when it was first built. Although no one calls it that. Like, no one. My mom called it that, but that's only because that's what they were calling it when they bought a house there. Anyway, so the Sunset Acres area. They just took a little tiny ditch worth of irrigation and moved it through the neighborhood so that people could irrigate their lawns if they wanted to, or irrigate your fruit trees or your family garden or whatever. And people did. My family did. Everybody did. And so, yeah, it was the area where the Big Tree was it wasn't really a reservoir, but the ditch widened, and there were a few junctions where you could shunt the water one way or the other on either side of the L bend to send it up one side of the street or down the other. And if you know about irrigation, that makes perfect sense. There were, you have the concrete pylons, I don't know what else you'd call them, that have a slit in them where you can slide a piece of plywood and it'll block off the water. I mean, mostly, not entirely. And so, and then you have an irrigation gate that you can raise and lower on with a wheel. There's one of those in the middle of this sort of junction L bend area in the neighborhood irrigation system, which is significantly smaller than the irrigation system that takes care of the fields farther up to the north. I'm just going to give way too much detail on this because this freaking guy, Braxton, you tell him what I said. He thinks that I can't tell a story coherently and cohesively. So, what you ended up with was a very, very large cottonwood tree because it had an endless source of water, and it just was constantly nourished as it was, pulling nutrients through that were from people's gardens and whatnot. So it's just this massive cottonwood tree, the biggest one I've ever seen in my life. And it's still there, and it's still quite large. Took my kids and was like, it's the Big Tree. And they're like, this is so unimpressive. And my son be like, I want to play video games. And I'm like, well, this was my childhood. We would come here. We built forts. We built tree houses. And then, like, a thing that would happen because all of the stuff that was being used to make the tree houses was, like, communal wood and whatnot, made out of, like, old gates that were no longer usable. And so then we'd just take those pieces of plywood and put them in the, Y-shaped branches of the tree and be like, we're building a tree house. And then someone would move it to a different Y-shaped branch and be like, no, we're building a tree house. And you get pissed off if somebody moved it. Be like, people got no respect for other people's tree houses. Oh man, what a thoroughly white middle class experience all of this is. Rural white middle class. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Anyway, so we're down at the big tree one time, and I don't know why I was standing in one place for so long because normally there was so much to do. I mean, you got to move all the pieces of the treehouse first of all because some idiot moved it, and rearrange it however it needs to be rearranged. You needed to look for cool rocks. I mean, kids these days wouldn't understand. You're looking for cool rocks. Oh, this one is quartz. That one over there is quartz. You just like take rocks home to my dad, and he'd be like, "Yeah, it's cool. That one's quartz. Yeah, that one also is cool. It's quartz." To the point where I would just tell people my favorite rock is quartz because like everything I brought home, it's quartz. Surprise, surprise, everything you find. Anyway, so somehow I'm standing in one place for way too long, and then all of a sudden, burning, stinging, searing pain, and I start to freak the frick out because I've never been in this particular pain before. I was like I'm gonna say 7 years old when this happened. So like, yeah, 7, 8 years old. All right. So certainly right up in that range. And so yeah, it starts a burning and a stinging, and uh, what happened was I was standing on an ant hill, big freaking red ants, and they just took a short trip up my pant leg because I wasn't that tall back then, and they were like, let's distribute ourselves evenly across both legs, and then let's proceed to eat as if it were a veritable smorgasbord after the lights go down. And they did. They bit me in like a bajillion different places, and I did not know what to do other than to collapse in a heap and cry wildly and harder than I had at any other time in my entire life. So I'm 7, 8 years old, where like by the time you're 7 or 8 years old, you start to feel like you're too old for things like this to happen to you. That like, you're not a little kid anymore. People tell you like, yeah, you little kids have to stay home, and you're like, I'm not a little kid. That's when you really start asserting that kind of nonsense, even though like clearly you are like 7 or 8 years old. You are a little kid. Deal with it. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just crying and rolling and howling in pain, and nobody else knew what had happened because they were all like shifting the treehouse and whatnot. Like they were engaged in the other activities. They were looking for cool rocks, the other activities of the big tree. And so, for all they know, I just lost my freaking mind. And I just am screaming and howling, and nobody knows what to do. And so, what someone thought to do was go immediately across the street and knock on whoever the frig's house that was, and whoever the frig's house that was happened to be the Browns, people for whom I would eventually work. By the way, I worked on their ranch, did cattle drives with them and stuff. Like, it was a whole thing. Yeah, helped buck hay in their alfalfa fields, mended their fences. Like, first day I helped dig a new cow tank and lay the plumbing for it, for the automatic filler. Mm. Yeah. So, that's who was immediately across the street. But we did not know them very well at this point. Like, we knew who they were, but like, we didn't really hang out because their kids were not our same ages. Like, because they had a daughter who was 2 years younger than me. Yeah, 2 years younger than me, or 1 year, or something. I don't know. There was some reason why we didn't hang out with them. Maybe it's because they had met us and their parents were like, "You do not hang out with them." Anyway, it's likely. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, they went and got the mom, and she came out, and she's like, "Okay, I see what's happening." Like, because she sees me standing on an anthill, or like rolling around howling in pain on an anthill. Um, and so she takes me inside her house into her bathroom, and she's like, "We're gonna take your pants," and I'm like, "I am 8 years old." And somebody's mom that I don't really know that well is gonna take my pants. Like, what? Is this stranger danger? Like, is this what Safety Kids has been warning me about? I learned all the songs on that Safety Kids cassette, and they did not tell me what to do when, like, a mild acquaintance's mother is going to take my pants. In response to me stinging all over in the pantsatal area. And you know what? It hurt so bad I couldn't care very much. I didn't possess the ability. I remember thinking at the time, this is weird. This is not normal. But I also remember thinking, if this makes it stop, I don't care what she does. Like, she could take pictures while she's down there and then share them later on a story that gets teased after this one. Haha. See, I'm remembering. Anyway, take pictures and share them then, because, yeah, I don't care anymore. I've lost my ability to care. So she takes my pants and she flips them inside out, and she like brushes all the ants out of it, out of my pants, or like shakes them out into the bathtub, and then proceeds to brush her hands up and down my legs, brushing all the rest of the ants off of my legs. And then she got some ointment and put little dabs of cold. I don't know why it was so cold. It just felt super cold. And I remember she had a very firm, sort of pokey touch putting this ointment on. And, and I was like, it kind of hurts the way you're putting it on there, but, you're an adult. I'm just going to trust that this is fine. And, yeah, so she put on the ointment, and then she had me put the pants back on, and then she walked me crying back to my house and told my parents that I had stood on an anthill. And I don't know why that equals 9. I was not 9 years old. 9 years old would have been too old for that story. It was like 7 or 8. Yeah, it would have been right in that range. 9 might have been a little on the old side. Anyway, but yeah, ants in the pants. Now, fun fact: I would later take that woman's daughter to prom. That's true. It's a true story. But I was not in love with her or anything. I didn't go to my junior prom, and it made everyone angry. I had catch this. I had fathers calling me up and being like, please, I will pay for you to go. My daughter has a prom dress. She has everything. She just wants to go. I will give you money if you take her. And I remember, and it's funny because the opinions are split on this. I have told that to this day because my students will get excited for prom and they'll be like, prom? And I'll be like, eh, you know. Then they'll be like, why, and I'll be like, well, here are my two prom stories. Um, and the one is I didn't go, and dads were offering me straight cash to where I would actually make a little bit of money taking their daughters to prom. And like, I could not. I was like, man, if this were my daughter, I think she would rather be dead than know that I was out there begging some kid and offering him money to take me to prom. But then I've told this story, and there are always people who are like, no, it's sweet that the dads cared. And it's like, I don't know what sort of daddy issues you have, but it's not that sweet. It's kind of creepy. Anyway, so people and their dad issues. Let's knock it out. Anyway, so yeah, eventually I took that girl to prom because the next year, I mean, there was this girl that I was in love with all through high school. Well, actually, starting late middle school, I just decided to become obsessed with this girl. And as I look back on it, I don't think I was as in love with her as I taught myself to think I was at the time, because I didn't know her nearly well enough. I really didn't. And all the girls that I knew well were not the ones that I was like over the moon about, you know? And so obviously my priorities were in all the wrong places, which is a constant thing in my life. Hey, be kind to yourself. Remember that sober guy thinks that we're cool. Yeah. Hug. Let's give ourselves a hug. Soft. Ticklish. Anyway. And once again, I absolutely hugged myself. Self-care. You got to do it. Anyway. So, in addition to taking this girl to prom, I was taken on a dance date. Actually, it may not have been with her. It may have been with one of her friends. Yeah, because I was going to say that I was taken on a dance date with her. No, let's say that it was with her, because it very well may have been, and the story is much more devastating if it's with her. And this is like truly an embarrassing thing to have happen to you. At least I think so. My threshold for embarrassment is basically non-existent at this point. Like, I was a theater major. I teach theater now. If you think that I can get embarrassed, then you don't know me at all, clearly. I don't know what would even embarrass me now. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, Kitty, no. I don't care how many times you get up here. I'm putting you down. I'm putting my foot down before you put your stupid foot down on my keyboard. Okay. So, yeah, the woman, Ants and Pants, I took her daughter to prom. Her daughter took me to like Morp or Sadie Hawkins or one of those. Sadie Hawkins dance in my pink polka dotted pants. What? Oh, Kitty. No, I don't care how many times you're going down. Every time. Every time. You're too big. She's so big and so fluffy, there's no way that she can be up there. Not acceptable. Not negotiable. All right. But yeah, so her daughter takes me to Sadie Hawkins, and back in the day, here was the look that all of my friends and I were rocking. We called it a smock, even though it's not technically a smock based on how we'd wear it. But like you'd wear a tight, like white undershirt kind of a shirt, and then you'd wear a button-down shirt, not a flannel, by the way. Like I've had this discussion with my missus, and she's like, "You mean a flannel?" And I'm like, "Well, no, I had flannels, like, and I button my flannels, but I'm talking about like button-down shirts, pattern printed button-down shirts." Well, some of them were solid colored, but like button-down shirts, they were either colored or patterned. And you'd wear that loose open with a tight, because I was quite thin back in those days, white t-shirt. Anyway, so this was the look, and I thought it was happening, and girls of the time seemed to be like, yeah. When I described it to the missus, down you go. When I described it to the missus, we're going to find out how many times this cat can try to make that maneuver. Anyway, when I described it to the missus, she's like, "Oh, that's hot." Like, that's a hot 90s man right there. And I'm like, "Yep, I'm a hot man in my 90s." Hot in my 90s. Anyway, regardless. So, yeah, this was after taking her daughter to prom. So probably was Morp. Anyway, so yeah, I remember we were out doing stuff during the day, and then at some point I changed. Or no. I'm telling it wrong. Okay. It was right when I got picked up for the freaking date. I hop in. It's a big old minivan full of high schoolers, because someone's mom owned a minivan, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do a big old group thing for the date, because girl of female friends, group of female friends." And they yeah, they all decided, like, we're just gonna get a bunch of guys that we like or whatever, and we're just gonna go do a thing, it's gonna be fine and whatever. And they did, and so we're all loaded up into this minivan. I was like the last person they picked up. And as I get in, uh my date is like, "Hold up, let me see the tag on your shirt." And I was like, "What? Why?" And I had just gotten this. I had gotten it at the thrift store, because I was also rocking thrift store fashions, because it was also the 90s, as aforementioned. And so, yeah, she's like, "Let me check the tag on your shirt." And she checks the tag, and then she immediately starts laughing so hard. Like, so hard. And everyone in the van is like, "What is wrong with you?" And she's like, "He's wearing my shirt." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I bought this with money." And she's like, "No, you idiot. You bought it at the thrift store. I like just donated it. Like, this was my shirt like less than a week ago, and you purchased it, and now you're wearing it on a date with me." Let us, like, she explained it out too. Like, I am doing the explanation a little bit over the top, but don't think she didn't like fully explain out exactly what was happening in detail to everyone. It was like, "And this is why he should feel very embarrassed right now." And I was like, "Oh, I wish I could. Oh boy, I wish I could climb out of my own ear and just walk away." Like, just unloose the hatch in the top of my skull and pull myself out by my own skeleton and just leave. leave the area. Anyway, like, oh, for real. This is very embarrassing for me. It's the most embarrassing story I can think of. Now, granted, things that I do on a regular basis, because not only am I a dad who like has no sense of shame anymore, I am a drama teacher, and this is a dangerous combination. So like, I can't even think of other embarrassing stories. I told you that one, and that's the worst one I can think of. So whatever. Moving on. Transition. Thank God. This is not going to be the funniest one, but it will be a long one. Oh, geez. I just noticed the time. It's going to be crazy long. Books nobody checks out at the library. Things my drama students have fake laughed about. I swear to God. We all know you're fake laughing. There are two people I can say this about who fake laugh on a regular basis, and it drives me crazy. Like, you get it together. We all know you're fake laughing. Anyway, books nobody checks out at the library. Earwax candles for fun and profit. How to become a hot topic goth. My favorite part is that I put the trademark logo in there. Like, yeah, I did. Well, not the one with the circle, but, you know, whatever. Things I found whilst exploring my anal cavity. Who wrote this? Braxton. Braxton. You should be ashamed. This is the Lord's house. You know whose house this is? This is the Lord's. You're going to learn about the Lord tonight. I guarantee it. Braxton. Swear to God. This is the Lord's house. Okay. Speaking of which, books nobody checks out at the library. I can say library. I was a librarian for a decade. Book of Mormon, the director's cut. Now with 20% more racism and 40% more, and it came to pass. That's only going to be hilarious to Mormons. Well, no, let me be more explicit. This is only going to be funny to ex-Mormons. Which things that maybe I'll talk about in a Minecraft episode or whatever. We'll find out. Who cares? I'll just put this here. 2 Nephi 5. And he had caused... Wait, I've got to do the voice. Let's see. There are a couple of famous Mormon voices. There's... Well, I mean, obviously, there's like... And he had caused the cursing to come upon them. Yea, even a sore cursing, because of their iniquity. And if you think that that sounds like Morbius Muldoon, you know Morbius Muldoon. I can't think of his actual name. I'm sorry. I have one student who's going to be like, you can't think of his name? For lo, it starts with an M. It's the big black blobbly thing that talks to you in Skyrim that's like, you will do my bidding. Here the bidding will do by you. But yeah, I realize it sounds like that, but like he actually sounded like that, except for he loved alliteration. He'd be like, preserved in the priesthood paths of peace, the persnickety persimmons parlayed the patriots and took the points. Like, what? Anyway, but I was thinking of the, like, you also have the, from the shadows of the mountains of the from the shadows of the everlasting mountains. That's the one. From the shadows of the everlasting mountains, we bid you goodbye. This has been Music in the Spoken Word. You know, like that guy. And then there's the other one who's like, oh, what does he do? I'm trying to think because I could think of his voice. Anyway, regardless, we'll just do it. Let's not worry about it. Let's not worry about accuracy. 2 Nephi 5, verses 21 and 22. And he had caused the cursing to come upon them, yea, even a sore cursing, because of their iniquity. For behold, they had hardened their hearts against him, that they had become like unto a flint. Wherefore they were white and exceedingly fair. This is Nephi describing his own people. Describing the Lamanites, who are the people of his brethren who chose wickedness instead of goodness, who, by the way, are in Mormon beliefs, are believed to be the real ancestors of Native Americans. We'll talk about why that's even more racist in a moment. Okay, so these people, for behold, they had hardened their hearts against him, that they had become like unto a flint. Wherefore, as they were white and exceedingly fair and delightsome, that they might not be enticing unto my people, enticing, meaning like, hey girl, how you doing? You looking enticing in that dress. Like that dress, oh my God, girl, get over here, girl, oh my God, like, you looking fly and fine, you looking flying, I'm gonna put them together, flying, it's a new word, it's not gonna catch on, but that's what you looking like, girl, in that dress, but you look even better, regardless. Things are getting locked and unlocked. Clearly, we are up very late. I will be in bed before the kids wake up. Also, I'm reading from the Book of Mormon, so it's very normal. It's weekend type fun. It's a comedy show that I put on for nobody except for myself. It's true. Nobody but me is meant for this. Anyway. Wherefore, as they were white and exceedingly fair and delightsome, that they might not be enticing unto my people, the Lord God did cause a skin of blackness to come upon them. And thus saith the Lord, I will cause that they shall be loathsome unto thy people, save they shall repent of their iniquities. Okay, let's unpack it. Okay? So these people used to be white and fair, which thing is delightsome. The Lord God doth delight in the whiteness of their whitey white skin. And when he put a curse on them, he was like, I'm going to make you ugly, so I'm going to make you dark skinned. That's freaking racist. Here's where it gets even more racist. He did it so that they would not be sexually attractive to the good commandment keeping and, more importantly, white Nephites. That's what it says, and that's what it means. And we glossed over this all the time, just like doo-ba-doo-ba-doo, skin of darkness, mark versus the curse. There is a mark, there is a curse. The mark is not the curse, and the curse is not the mark. That's not what this says. Read what it says. That they might not be enticing unto my people, the Lord God did cause a skin of blackness to come upon them, and thus saith the Lord, I will cause that they shall be loathsome, worthy of loathing, and hatred, and racism unto thy people, save they shall repent of their iniquities. So, dark skin equals sign. And you think that it hasn't come up in modern times? How about like President Kimball being all like, oh, and the Navajo kids that were taken into our homes, and like trying to make them more white and less Navajo, which was a practice that they had for a while. And my mother had people who were taken in, Navajo sisters who were taken in to her, it was her, either her grandfather's or her great uncle's home. I forget which. But were brought in so that they could hopefully become more white. And President Kimball was like, oh yeah, and you can see it. After spending a little time with these white people, these natives, they just start, their skin seems lighter in fewer than one generations. Like, he said it. He said it. You can Google it. Anyway, it's racist. It's racist. It's saying that white people are inherently good, and that if people learn to be good, that they will regain the whiteness that they should have had and that they lost through their disobedience and sinful nature. That's what it says. That's what it means. Okay, that's racist. Here's the part that you 100% agree with, although you don't even understand that it's racist. And it's the same reason why freaking Ancient Aliens is racist. Is because Ancient Aliens and the Book of Mormon, which are equally plausible, by the way, by which I mean not really, these things, they are racist because they assume that the quote-unquote savage, backwards peoples who were living in the Americas at the time that the explorers were coming, that there was no way that those people could have built what those European explorers found in terms of ruins and whatnot. They couldn't have built it. It had to be advanced people, aka white people. Like, that is the assumption. And it's baked in. Oh, you can talk your way around this one. Oh, there's a mark and there's a curse, and the mark is different from the curse. You can't talk yourself out of the part where we don't allow Native Americans the right to own their own cultural achievements. That's freaking racist. And it's bullcrap. I'm sorry. Did I just bring the room down with a truth bomb up in this piece? Sorry. Sorry about that. I don't know what I'm on today. This is not going to be a very good episode, but at least it'll be interesting. These verses posted without permission from LDS.org, and actually I thought it was LDS.org, but apparently that's not the website anymore, because they're getting serious with the whole nonsense about, like, no, use our right name, which I will use your right name when you stop being litigious, because, like, they get litigious with they're like, you can't call us Mormons because that's a term that's like using the N-word. It's like, nope. They'd be like, that's like using religious-based epithets against Jewish people and being anti-Semitic. No, it's not. It is not. I'm sorry. It is not. So anyway, but they're like, yeah, if you don't call us the right thing, then it's very offensive to us. And it's like, no. Look, people in the history of your church have proudly taken on the name Mormon. I remember a talk when I was a kid about, like, I'm proud to be a Mormon boy. And this is a whole thing. And I'm not telling you that you can't like change with times or that you can't, but like you can't act like your ability to take offense is so much greater than other people's, which is what really bothers me, because there are things that I take offense at that you aren't even paying attention to, that it bothers me that you don't pay attention to them. So you being all like, use the right name though. Like, I'm sorry. I don't feel like it. And until you address some of these glaring issues, we are not going to play your little game. So, look, when you aren't ostracizing gay kids and driving them to suicide, then you can come at me, bro. You know what? I'm going to pause this. So I'm in a not very hilarious mode right now, and we'll try and come back. I'm going to make some food or something. Okay, it is stupid o'clock, and let's just try and get this done. We're still on books nobody checks out at the library. Film ideas of George Lucas, 1990 to the present. Yeah, that's right. 1989 was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It should have been called Indiana Jones and the Last Good Idea He'll Ever Have, am I right? Anyway, regardless. Things frat boys think aren't homophobic or homophobic. Freudian slip. Things frat boys think aren't homoerotic for some reason. Bro, pull down your pants. I'm going to hit you with this paddle. It's like mad straight. It's like the straightest thing any bros have done. Hey, bro, pull down your pants, and I'm going to like point and laugh and then say things about the shape and size of your genitals. Yeah, do it. You won't. Yeah, that's how you get to be a part of our special group of like guys who are like extra guy though. All right, dude. Yep. Keep telling yourself that is very straight and very normal. Which, by the way, that's some Kevin Spacey nonsense, you frat boys. You can't. Anyway. Look. I know I said no gay jokes, and I meant it. And if you look closely at that one, you'll see it's at the expense of frat boys, not gay people. And given the fact that we have to put up with frat boys in our government now, yeah, I think we can safely all agree that we should just say, hey, screw frat boys. Who gives a crap about them? They've had it too good for too long. All right, continuing. Books nobody checks out of the library. The Richard Gere hamster story and other weird things your cousin told you. It's true. My cousin told me the Richard Gere hamster story. And I was like, what? But would that even feel good? And he's like, I don't know. He's some sort of a queer. And I'm like, but maybe he's onto something? I don't know. Why would you do it if there weren't something in it? You know, I mean, yes, there's something in it, and what's in it is a hamster. But, like, I mean, anyway. Moving on. Nobody checks this one out. Songs acoustic guitar at the party guy knows. Yep. You listening, acoustic guitar at the party guy? Books somebody checks out of the library. Ayn Rand's book, a big book, a knee-slapping hilarity. Yeah, she was known for her humor. Blurbs on the back. I called it blurbs on the back. Now I'm doing things that I think are funny to me. I pissed myself, says Leonard Peikoff. If that's funny to you, if that name is funny to you, and you know who that is, like, hopefully you figured your life out by now. This woman is about as funny as Tucker Carlson getting hit in the nuts with a claw hammer, says Tucker Carlson. You're right, Tucker. It's getting hit in the nuts with a ball peen hammer. Ball peen. It's the actual name of the hammer. Thank you very much. I'll be here until I finish God, which hopefully will be the same day. No, it's not the same day I started. God, same week I started. Oh, let's cross our fingers. Anyway, I thought the thing about Howard Rourke raping Dominique and Dominique being all like, I guess it's pretty awesome to get raped by a guy like him was freaking hilarious. I laughed so hard that I forgot the many sexual assaults that have been perpetrated against me by various men for literally no reason over all these years. All the women in America with one voice. Like, for real. Men. Hey, men. Men. Okay, look. All of you in this room. Oh, we're going to preempt. Sober guy thought he was going to catch me with like, can you remember? Yeah, I can. Look, Braxton's over here. The first one I said last time, Chaz. He's over here. You can't even see me pointing, but I am pointing, remembering how I pointed last time when I did it. You've got Kaysen. He's with Clarissa. You have Caden. You have Aiden. Parents came here in the douche canoe paddling it. Water smelled like ammonia. Yeah. You have Kaysen. Did I say Kaysen? Whose parents, almost could have given you a normal name, but they were like, no, we went to South Jordan, Utah. It was real bougie. I checked, and Siri told me so. It is true. You get the freak off, sober me. I remember every little thing as if it happened only yesterday. Yeah, that's right. I totally remember that spoken word bit and from the Meatloaf album, and also from Jim Steinman's solo album where it appeared for the first time. Anyway, moving onward. She's like a 4. She's nowhere near as hot as my daughter. Some guy who used to be president of the entire United States? Really? And that's what he said. And people voted for him. And people voted for him again? And people think he won just because he said that he did? Okay, moving on. Transition. Thank God. That was going terrible places quickly. Community events in the place where you live. Get it? 'Cause you're standing in the place where you live. Think about direction. Think about why you have it now. Stand in the place where you were. Anyway. April 3rd. Oh, I screwed myself over on this. I thought it was funny to do this to the numbers. It is not. I cannot say this. April 13th to May 32th. Some lady you just want to punch in the face for being such an unbearable overachiever teaches you to grow a better garden. Oh, I don't want to punch her in the face. You wash that carrot off. Also, is it okay for a woman like yourself to hold such blatantly phallic vegetables? Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Are you sure, though? Hold up. I gotta go check out something. Because I don't want to burn the house down. Food that I put in. Wait, that's not paused? Okay, the fact that it was... that it seemed to be... it might have been unpaused for a long time when I was not even in the room and was like... making food and telling people that it's too early for them to be awake despite the fact that I have not gone to bed. Yeah. So, yeah. That may have happened where you heard that part distantly in the distance and did not catch any of the slides? Well, let's go back to the slides. Yep, you just want to punch that lady, and hopefully you understand the callback to phallic vegetables. And if not, it's a funny thing to say. Phallic vegetables. We know what you're doing. You're gardening. Anyway. Sábado gigante. Esta noche. Anyway, this is not noche. Come on. What are you talking about? Your Spanish is not that good. Guys with hearts full of crushed dreams and no disposable income stand in a parking lot with their bored wives. Oh, you're not supposed to call them like they are. It makes people sad. On this, the day we honor Thor, god of thunder, which is Thor's Day. Of course, you know that all of our days of the week are named for pagan gods. You have the Sun's Day, the Moon's Day, Tuesday, named after Tew, the one-handed god of dueling. You have Woden's Day, Woden, the father of Thor. You know him as Odin, but depending on who you ask and in what language, whom you ask, let me get it right, and in what language, it could be Woden. Then there's Thor's Day. Then there's Freya's Day. And then for no frick reason, we break the streak. Combo breaker. Saturn's Day. For no frick reason. But on this, the day we honor Thor, god of thunder, the lonely librarian tries to make friends with people who clearly didn't read the book. When I got put in charge of the book club for the library, this is exactly what it was like. I chose to have people read Death Comes for the Archbishop, and one lady who was a real piece of work was the only person who read it, and she freaking hated it. It's just like, Willa Cather, this is trash. And I'm like, but her prose are impeccable. Oh my God. It's true. Willa Cather's impeccable prose. Okay. And we're back. Willa Cather, impeccable prose. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Honoring God, creator of all that is and will ever be. A being to whom we owe all that we have and all that we experience. By showing up. Wait. Oh, hold up. I know where this was supposed to be. Okay, think we got it. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Honoring God, creator of all that is and will ever be, a being to whom we owe all that we have and all that we experience. We worship him by showing up to some building wearing slightly better clothes than normal and singing oddly romantic songs about him. And I don't care where you go to church. Look at how romantic those songs are. It's like, God, you have the softest hands. Your hands are so silky soft. I love the way that you caress me, God, and I'm gonna shout about it. Yeah, I don't know where you go to church, and that is a terrible song. It has like no melody in it. And even if you go to one of the stodgy old hymnal singing ones where it's like, oh God, you are so freaking great. You look nice in those pants. Have you been working out, oh God? Oh God, you're so thick, I'm gonna need 2 straws. You all know that hymn. It's a classic. Anyway, moving on. On this, the day of our blessed Lord, motocross. See overboard the monster truck take on the mighty Undertaker. And don't miss the powerful Robosaurus as he tears a car in half and burns it, melting it down with his giant flamethrower. We celebrate this day unto you, O Lord, with our motocross. Hey kid, juxtaposition equals sign comedy. Now, why did I put this kid, the Bat Boy from The Natural? Because, first of all, there's a little bit of like, hey kid, you want to learn how to be awesome at the baseball? Between these two, that's like the relationship, and that's what the tone of this slide is. But also, this kid is the worst freaking actor. He's clearly like a producer's son. And, oh, kitty, we're getting you. Ugh, you can't be up here, kitty. Not right now. Anyway, and he's the worst freaking actor in the movie by far. Hey, you think I could ever make one of those Wonder Boy bats? Gee willikers, I sure would like to make one of those. Is what my dad said the line is that I'm supposed to say. I don't know. He said I could make money if I do this. Do you think I can make money? Like, what? He's the worst actor in the thing. Hopefully he had a long and storied career. You know him as Willem Dafoe. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Just kidding. Willem Dafoe is too good an actor to have been that kid. And that child, ladies and gentlemen, grew up to be. Wait, that's not it. That's not what I was going to do. And that child, ladies and gentlemen, grew up to be Daniel Day-Lewis. And now you know the rest of the story. Good day? Anyway, this kitty wants my food, and she cannot have it. Okay, don't think for a moment that I've forgotten the true nature of God. 3 slides back when I was talking about how God was like a man, and that we worship him with hymns. No. This is the face of God. Do you have a moment? It's a new religion. I chose this picture because, like, this guy literally just pooped his pants. Just pooped him. And this guy is like, don't think about that time when we touched our girlfriend's boobies before we went into the MTC. Oh, we didn't tell the bishop about that one. Oh, I'm gonna get sent home for sure. It's true. Do you have a momentism? This is my new religion. I just made it. We believe in but one God, but we aren't so pushy as to capitalize the word God itself because 1, that would be ridiculous. 2, in this sentence, it is neither a title nor a designation and is therefore not a proper noun in need of capitalization. Number 3, we wouldn't presume to tell other people which words to capitalize because we're not pushy like that. We're not like, oh, when you speak of him, you must capitalize him. When we speak of God, you must capitalize God. Or even worse, like leave the vowel out because like, oh, we don't want to spell the sacred name. No, the sacred name is not God. If you're thinking of the Judeo-Christian one, which apparently I don't believe in because this is the face of God. Or maybe that's the face of the Judeo-Christian God. You don't know. You don't know that it's not. It'd make that sex scene with Mary a lot more awesome. Anyway, what? Who said that? Braxton. That was you, wasn't it? Look, Kaysen's over here with Clarissa. Let's not act like, no, you don't get to throw anybody else under the bus. I'm throwing you under the bus. Braxton. Thinking about God, and that is blasphemy. Anyway, but we wouldn't presume to tell other people which words to capitalize. Who would we even think we were if we resorted to such nonsense? Come on. Do you have a momentism? The basics continued. We believe in one God, the sexy mama, the Almighty, the person who probably made neither heaven nor earth, because we are pretty sure that science has some pretty solid answers about how all that happened, and we're just a religion. We can't preempt the observable, replicable facts of the world as they exist. Who do we think we are, once again? God looks like this. We don't care if you don't believe us. This is still true. You cannot prove otherwise. This is the face of God. Because why wouldn't it be? We believe in one Lord. George Gordon, Lord Byron, as a matter of fact. Because we can actually prove he existed and that he was indeed the son of some father or another. Was he the son of the father that people say that he's the son of? Or did his mom secretly maybe have another father in mind for young George? We don't know. Perhaps we could know. Do his descendants, are they still around? Can we DNA test that? Can we get a test? Is there any reason for suspicion of George Gordon, Lord Byron's mother? I mean, it's commonly just called Lord Byron, but it's fun to say George Gordon, Lord Byron. Anyway, light from light, true image of God to true image of God. How does she still look so good? She's like significantly older in the picture on the right. Like significantly older. Decades older. She looks great. Oh my God. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Oh my God. Yes. Telling you, she must be the Almighty. Okay, here are the commandments. Thou shalt not be a douchebag, neither to thy wife, nor to thy children, neither to thy neighbor, nor to any that belong unto his house, neither to thine other neighbor, nor to his wife, whom thou suspectest of spending too long chatting with the mailman, if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Neither to people whose skin color is different to thine, for such a thing is an abomination unto me. Not the skin, the treating them differently, dingus. It's hard to write in old-timey, and sometimes you're like, wait, are the modifiers modifying the nouns that I intended them to? Anyway, neither to those whose political views are different from thine, nor to those whose religious views are different from thine. In short, there's nobody I want you being a douchebag to, capiche? You get it? Don't be a douchebag. Okay, number 2. I want to make this very clear. So listen up, especially you guys who claim to want to be like God, but have spent literally no time whatsoever thinking about what that really means, truly means, etc. Here is the commandment. Get it in your brain. I am 100% cool with LGBTQ plus people. I don't give a crap about anyone's sexuality, gender identity, consensual sexual practices, lifestyles, things they do, things you think they do. I don't give a crap. I really don't care about any of that stuff. But what I do care about is when self-righteous hypocrites try to put words in my mouth, saith the Lord. This is me speaking, reading the commandments of the Lord. I think the question you need to ask yourself is why you even care about what other people do. Oh, and it takes zero effort to call someone by their chosen name and pronouns, but it affords them immeasurable human dignity, so just friggin' do it. Okay? Like, you're gonna tell us how to say the name of your church and be all like, no, you can't call us that. You have to call us this. And then if someone were to say, like, hey, call me by a different gendered pronoun and use the name that I'm asking you to use, you'd be like, that's an assault on my freedoms and my religious liberties. Like, what? Yeah, definitely have it both ways, dingus. Okay. Number 3, don't talk about this religion to anyone who didn't specifically ask you what you believe and about whom you have paused to think about whether or not they are actually just backdooring their way into a conversation about their own hokey religions and or blasters. If it's blasters, talk away. We want to know all the deets on the blasters. But if it's their hokey religions, come on. Come on, though, bro. But, like, and I would say this, rule of thumb, twice. They have to ask twice. It'd be like, no, really, I really want to know what you believe. And at that point, you can be like, okay, I will talk to you about do you have a momentism, the new religion that I'm making up right now. Number 4, have you ever noticed that people who say women aren't funny tend to fall into either or both. God, I hate it when I make typos. I did that once and I thought it sounded funny, but now I'm getting very annoyed with myself that I keep, number 1, making typos. Number 2, still doing that. The voice. Anyway, okay. Have you ever noticed that people who say women aren't funny tend to fall into either or both of the following 2 categories? Number 1, people who haven't heard of Maria Bamford. And number 2, men who, despite what they think, are nowhere near as funny as Garfunkel and Oates. I mean, who is? Who is? Look at him. Ricky Lindholm and Kate McCucci. They're hilarious. And Maria Bamford, like, sometimes I just find myself, I'll just be like, I hope she's okay. Because, you know, she's been through a lot. And she knows how to turn it into comedy in, like, magical ways. But I just hope she's okay. Okay. Number 5. Have you noticed that these commandments are a blatant attempt to overcompensate with overtly progressive views as a shallow attempt to pave over the things the guy who makes these videos said for the past 4 weeks? Oh, and don't think we haven't noticed that he hasn't taken those videos down and has personally watched them multiple times because Lord knows nobody else watches this channel. I've cut myself deep here. Oh, and it goes without saying that when I say Lord, I mean George Gordon, Lord Byron. I'm doing callbacks while I'm dissing myself. A true emo dreamboat, if ever there was one. And that's me being like, okay with gayness. Look at me, just coming at you both ways. But don't be distracted by his smoky eye. We were talking about the person who made the list pandering to us, his audience. But wait, isn't he the guy who writes these lists? Is he giving voice to something he thinks we'll think by pretending not to be himself? What a weirdo. And by the way, when I say something he thinks we'll think, I'm including myself in that. Which, like, what? How many me's am I creating in this? And why am I so self-hating? Like, calm down. Self-care queen, yas. Okay. What next? Be nice to the handicapped? He was going to make me say that. He was going to make me say, what next? Be nice to the handicapped. As if I were the jerk that was like, oh, should we do that? Yeah, I guess you should, since I said that don't be a douchebag thing at the beginning. And then he was going to be very impressed with himself for using single quotation marks with the double quotation marks to indicate the quote within the quote. But because I'm him and he's me, we're both kind of disappointed in ourselves because we think we're being clever when we're not. But yeah, don't be a douchebag to handicapped people and whatnot. Oh my god. This is gonna be a sad journey. You're just gonna see me like devolve where at first I'm like, you're good, me, we're friends with myself, and then by the end and be like, we're not friends anymore. Me and myself, we don't hang out. Okay, number 7, you aren't allowed to take your dog everywhere you go if you aren't blind. Seriously, it's narcissistic. Also, sorry to canine officers, rules are rules. Also, sorry, not sorry, because now you made me think of police brutality because of the year we're living in. And I feel like you're at least partially to blame for not actively wanting to bring justice to victims of brutality and also for justice to their families more often than not, because the brutality is often so brutal, in fact, that it is fatal. And also for protecting a status quo under which all people are not being treated equally. Yeah. The next commandment was going to be, wait, wasn't he allegedly doing some sort of a comedy bit? When did this turn into the last season of MASH? Like, she had a baby and she killed it. That's the worst Alan Alda I've ever. I wasn't trying to do Alan Alda, but like, yeah, Alan Alda. He's got kind of a like, that's not a good Alan Alda either, but it's better. Better. He's nasal. I got that far. God, now there's more voices I can't do. That dingus is going to be like, haha, in your face. Okay, but I need to pause the commandments, and I need to look up whether or not Alan Alda won an Emmy for his performance in the final episode. I'm going to look it up right now, but I did when I wrote this, and I know the answer. Duh. I'm the only one who's going to watch this long-ass video. Yeah, I said the word ass in it, and I'm the only one who's going to hear it because no one's going to make it this far. And also that N looks like the sound, the NG sound in the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. And no, I'm not drinking IPAs. How dare you? Anyway, and no, he did not get an Emmy for his performance in the last episode or his performance in the last season. He was robbed. But he did win lead actor in a comedy series in 1982, the year before the series ended. And he was nominated for both director and actor in the final episode. Okay, commandments continued. We shouldn't have to tip anymore. It's awkward for everyone, and it puts the servers in the position of having to engage in emotional labor in exchange for a non-guaranteed boost to their pittance of a base wage. Okay, emotion labor is a simple concept. I'll explain it to you very quickly. One of the few things that from being a communication major in college is at all worthwhile. Like being a communication major, huge mistake. Like don't do it. Don't do it. Communication major, don't do it. Journalism, that's different. Communication, nope, not real. Anyway. But emotion labor is that thing where you have to be like, oh, I'm going to make this experience magical for you. Like people who have to work at Disneyland and they're like, oh, I'm a princess and I'm happy inside all the time. Even though like, she has to pretend that, even though like, is like largely college students and communication majors, a lot of them, surprisingly enough, who play the characters at Disneyland. And like, so those princesses and whatnot, they're like, in a situation where it's kind of like college, but sped up because they're only there for a certain amount of time. And then they're back in college and whatnot. And so like they'll be in these dorms with people that they might not see again. And so the whole thing about like, you were sleeping with so and so, but I was sleeping with, is like a common thing. And so like Belle and Ariel might have like serious beef over, stooping some guy who plays like Gaston or some nonsense. Anyway, this is a whole thing. But then they have to go out and their emotion labors when they're like, I hope you have a magical day. Oh my God. And that's what we do to servers when they're having just a crap time. And then we make them go out and be like, I'm so happy to bring you food. Oh no, it's no problem. Anything that I can do for you, it's no problem. Because they just need a friggin' bump to their wage and they can't afford to be rude. And then, those of us who are paying the tip, we're like, oh, well, we don't want to be rude. And everybody's like walking on eggshells and being all ridiculous around each other. When in fact, this is restaurant owners who are making this stupid thing happen. So restaurants shall hereafter pay their employees fairly and pass the expense on to the customers, which you're technically doing in a tip type situation, but just figure it in. And then we won't have to make sure that we won't have to feel like it's some arbitrary thing. And yes, I know that everybody knows that in Europe, people find tipping offensive because it's a sign that like, your employer doesn't pay you a fair wage. But it's true. Like there are places in the world where tipping is not only unnecessary, it is offensive. So why? Why do we do it? Anyway. So if we don't have to tip, we'll have a little more disposable income. You pass those lack of savings on to us. We'll eat it. It's fine. Pun intended, we'll eat it. Anyway, everyone will be more happy. Everyone except for exploitative restaurant owners with whom I am not well pleased. So they can go kick rocks. And it is getting so freaking early in the morning. Sun's coming up and stuff. This is the worst episode I've ever made. Braxton, you hear me? This is the worst one. This is not even funny, the Braxton bullcrap. Anyway, moving on. Hey, dog people, I'm throwing you a bone. Pun very unfortunately intended. I know, I'm ashamed too. You know that creepy guy who smells like unwashed laundry and incestuous lust? I didn't know that had a scent, but apparently Sober Me thinks it does. Thinks he can ferret out incestuous lust. I'd like to see what he does or what he thinks it smells like. Oh, Axe body spray? Yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, he's not allowed to bring his circle all that apply. Lizard, snake, other reptile, exotic bird, ferret, other mammal which he keeps in his shirt pocket, animal which will someday be quite dangerous and probably bite his arm off, but which is now actually quite small and kind of cute, tarantula and or scorpion into public places either. There, happy? But now do you see how the world sees you? You're almost on par with incestuous smelly guys in tank tops who take their iguana to the mall. Do you want to fall in line now, or do I have to make other unfortunate comparisons? Because I will. Clearly. Because comedy is happening. Transition, thank God. On this guy, did it, or did this bullcrap. You suck. Sober Me. Self-care is over. Mental health is done. We're tearing the system down. Tearing myself down makes me feel sad. Behind the scenes, I never think these are funny when I write them, and I'm always worried that they will suck when I record them. I'm worried right now, and I think rightfully so. Right now, I'm horrified, and what I'm accepting is reality. They all suck, and I really need to stop this. Yes, I do. God. I think all of these things, am I right? Sober Me will tell me tomorrow, except I won't be here by definition. We can't both be here. I think this for sure. I don't think Sober Me will think any differently. We are the same person. We've talked about this. End credits. Oh, thank God. Okay. This program was made possible by the Igneous and Gertrildina Buttcomer Foundation and by viewers like you. Promotional considerations provided by Ralph Morgan's Extra Strangly Snakes. Okay. Here's why this is terrible. This is a picture of a man named Daniel Brandon, his two first names for a full name, who was strangled by that very snake in the picture. It strangled him to death. He died. And then I'm using that picture because it was like, I need a picture of a snake owner, and nobody else looked sketchy enough, I guess. And so me deciding that this guy looked sketchy and then using it for comedy, that's extra hilarious. Guys, Braxton, how did this make it past the censor? I swear to God, you're supposed to make me look good, and I look like a jackass. Okay. Oh, speaking of ass, that's the word of the week. The Lonely Ass Librarians Guild. That's for real. Grandpappy True Reels, foul-smelling balms and gruels. Well, look who learned to arc text in Pixlr. This friggin' guy. And also the one and only true God. This program was directed and performed by the mysterious personage. We are he and they is me, and we're all here sharing a head. I thought that was profound when I wrote it. I was wrong. But yeah, I actually initially had my full name on the slide. It's like, I'll just tell people what my full name is. And I was like, nope, not even though I have no YouTube followers, and no YouTube follower with any self-respect is going to see this episode this far in. Still, though, I'm not giving up my full name. Anyway, written by Braxton White Guy. And he's not actually this gray. Look at how gray he looks in this picture. He uses graying crypt. Oh, shut up, Braxton. You do too. You use graying creams. You were white. You were as white as the background. This picture would be a white square were it not for your use of graying creams. Also, I think it's weird that you closed your eyes, nose, mouth, pores, neck, all of those things while you were taking this picture. Facial features. How'd you close your facial features? Anyway, theme song by the Out of Tuners. I didn't have a theme song. I meant to write one, but I didn't do it. Actual funny bits are by the slightly less than sober me. I look like a dingus. I was dead sober when I did this. I'm becoming soberer the later I stay up. Is ridiculously early in the morning. Sun's basically, I can see perfectly fine. Outside is bad. I gotta go to bed. The bits you didn't like were by Sober Me. A presentation of non-sober Badger Productions. No, I'm a subsidiary of the large, boring-sounding corporation with surprisingly questionable business practices, Lawful Asset Holdings Incorporated. A branch of the intentionally vague corporation whose purpose may never be known, the Blaine Group. And communism! It's not dead yet, suckers. I fear that this episode is going to be way too loud. So I'm just yelling into the microphone about communism not being dead, suckers. And did I spend 10 minutes of my life creating a communist flag that says not dead yet, suckers, in Pixlr? Yes, I did. This is how I spent my time. This is why the sun is coming up now. You wouldn't respect me if I didn't. Okay, seriously, the end. There's no more. You need to quit flipping slides. Oh, I'm not going to quit because I know myself. Seriously, stop. You don't want them to see the list of ideas for possible slide bits you left at the end, do you? Oh, there was. There were slides that were like all the ideas of things that I should do for future and for also this one as well. And it's at the end. You do? Well, then I'm not going to be responsible for the consequences of me spoiling every current and future bit. Don't worry about spoiling it. They're terrible. I don't know if I'm good at comedy. I like funny things. I don't know if I make funny things. Oh well, I'm having crises. I need to go to bed. Seriously, just do it and be done with it. You won't do it. Bet. Oh, you silly goose. You had me worried. You moved the ideas to a different slideshow. I was going to put this and that I was going to not move them. Oh, that's a slide. I was. I wasn't going to put them on a different slideshow, but then I realized that I basically promised myself, if you can't keep a promise with yourself, who can you keep it with? True, true. Okay, seriously now, the end. But is it though? Nope. Did you really think it would be funnier to leave it on a slide like this one? Nope, apparently I didn't. Boneless, skinless pizza. That was an idea that was very funny to me earlier. Nope. Do you think newspaper editors get the chills when they write headlines like, "Born to be mild, local biker gang fails to terrify local pedestrians"? Like, what? Why are they both local? All right, this sucks. It's terrible. How long? Almost 3 hours. You should be ashamed of yourself if you watch this. Get your life in order. I would try and get mine in order. I'm sorry for everything I said, offensive, inoffensive, and everything in between, because this is too freaking long and it's got to stop. Anyway, all right, people, watch the game reviews. At least they're shorter. Okay, bye.